1983, my first grandchild was born, and we got a call from my son-in-law, come to the hospital, I'll introduce you to your granddaughter. So my son-in-law put his arm around me and said, Jerry, come on, I'll take you to the nursery where you can see your granddaughter. So we walked down the hall, and he took me to the nursery, and he said, there's Jessica. So I tapped on the window, Jessica, it's Grandpa. Nothing. Then there's a little girl, the father said to this, standing next to me, and the father said, there's your brother. I hate him already. So I tapped on the window again. Jessica, it's Grandpa. Nothing. I was going to walk away, and then I said, one more time. I tapped on the window, and I said, it's Grandpa. Out comes the arm from the cover. Great big smile. She waves, puts the arm back in, and falls asleep. That's when I got hooked.
So we're going to dive right in. We're here tonight to talk about the 7 secrets to inspiring the grandparent-grandchild connection. Jerry, what is secret number 1?
Enrich your family life. Leave valuables as well as values. But values to me are more important than valuables. So that your grandkids will have those with them for the rest of their lives. When a grandparent dies, the library burns to the ground. All the stories and experiences and wisdom that's in the grandparents' head, I hope will be shared with their grandchildren to teach them values as well as how to do with valuables. How you share your wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and you unleash your creativity and your passion for your grandchildren and not be afraid of that. Mm-hmm. Secret number 2 is the power of the 4 jars. The first jar is to spend. It's labeled on the jar, spending jar. You're responsible for your own happiness. Take risks and spend. Next jar is called the charity jar, and I wanted to teach the value of kindness through the charity jar. The third jar is the save jar. I wanted them to learn the value of having a vision for the future, and the future may just be 4 months down the road. To buy their mother a birthday present, something like that. And the fourth jar is the investment jar. I wanted them to know that there is maybe investments that grandparents, other people have made in the family for them.
So secret number 3 says from the boardroom to the living room. So what does that mean?
That means that what I'm trying to encourage through this whole presentation is how do you bring your skills to your family, to your grandchildren. We all plan agendas, we all plan meetings, we all know how to encourage people to talk or try and keep the other person who's talking too much, or all the things that you do. Mm-hmm. How do I bring that skill, that knowledge, that wisdom to my family? That's what I did. Mm-hmm. But it really is a chance to deliberately, consciously share what's going on. Secret number 4 is an issue I've been struggling with the last 2 years, and I call it mature love. One of the members of my family said, Grandpa, don't type that into the computer because you'll get a porn site. But I said mature love because I want the family members to realize that there's a foundation of love that exists. Well, my friend told me that her son came home from high school, and he comes into the house, and she says, oh, sweetie, how was high school today? And he says, shut up. I hate you. Leave me alone. And went right into his room. Now, we had to discuss this mature love idea for a long time with her for over a year. And she said, okay, something happened in high school today. That's why he's saying that. I know that he loves me and I love him. Tapped on his door, put the bowl of ice cream on his desk, and left and said, we'll talk later. I know you love me, I love you, and closed the door. And that's what I mean by mature love. Something happened in school that upset this young man, and they're going to get to it later. Secret number 5 is create a living legacy. And I get people asking me in groups like this, how will I be remembered? And I always say, create a living legacy. So that I created the Witkowski Living Legacy Foundation. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to have the the grandchildren, the cousins and the siblings stay together. So they became the board of directors of this foundation. And it's not a legal foundation. I didn't deal with lawyers. I just put this together myself. And it was, I wanted them to share their passions, their dreams, their wishes together. And you don't have to have a lot of money to do this. You can have a few $100s, and they know the limit is a few $100s. It's not $25,000 for a motorcycle.
So,
A Ferrari maybe that they let Grandpa drive, but
so you have said that secret number 6 is to inspire a culture of philanthropy. So what does that mean?
well, it means that what I hope would happen is that grandparents don't force their grandchildren to sponsor and support their ideas. How do they help their grandchildren get an idea of what do they want to do? What's the kindness from the charity jar? What is the kindness they want to do? When I was a director of our resident camp, Camp Cheyenne in Chicago, I taught my staff that always leave your campsite better than you found it. Always leave your school better than you found it. Always leave your neighborhood better than you found it. So that I want the kids to really be able to search out where are their passions, where do they want to make their contribution of kindness. It can be volunteering in a homeless shelter. It could be volunteering in some other place where they live. But that's the kind of research that grandparents can help them do. But you don't have to support my foundation, what I'm doing. And I think that's what I feel is very important. Life is an adventure. I met my wife when I was a senior at George Williams College in Chicago, and she was a freshman. Her parents would not fund her college education unless she wanted to be a nurse or a teacher, and she didn't want to do either one of those. So she worked in an office for 3 years, saved her money, and came to George Williams. And I had to take a dance class for my degree, and there she was, beautiful, charming, good moves, everything. So after the dance class, I asked her out. And in Hyde Park, there's a lot of different places where college kids can go get a drink or whatever. So we went, and she sat down at the table, and as we sat down, she said, "I can drink you under the table, Jerry." And I said, "I only drink root beer." 6 months later, we were married. In 1997, Margaret was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in 2003, she passed away. It was during this time that I wrote the book, and I've been to Rochester, New York to speak there, Manhattan JCC to speak, and now Marvelous Old Phoenix, Arizona to speak. And in January, I'll be speaking at 2 synagogues in Los Angeles where my daughter lives. So that life is an adventure. You can wallow or you can move on and do things. I'm 87 years old, and I'm still going, and I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.